Good evening, Ward 3. My name is Peter Lin-Marcus. I'm running for the District 2 City. I'm running for the District 2 City Council. I'm not a professional politician. I think it shows in the nerves I have right now. I'll try to end. But I have been a lifelong servant. I'm running to restore the American dream to all Bostonians and to all people, and especially the people in the District 2. I grew up with a family that experienced the American dream on both sides. My mother's side of the family came from China, escaping a lot of civil war and a lot of the unrest in China and other parts of Asia. My father's side of the family were Jewish. They luckily escaped. Most of them luckily escaped before the Holocaust, and they were lucky to have the opportunity for education, to have the opportunity to buy a house near Boston, and to help me and to give me the advantages of a great education and the opportunity and to know exactly what the American dream is. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not have faith that's there, and that's unfortunately justified by a lot of closed doors that a lot of people are seeing. You see that in terms of disengagement from the political process, in terms of people giving up. You see that especially what's been talked about when over a quarter of our people don't finish our public schools within 4 years, don't graduate from our public schools within the 4 years of high school. I've dedicated my life to changing that. I had a chance to. I did city year for a year. I had a chance to teach at the. To teach right down at the street at the Harvard Kent Elementary School. That was one of the best experiences of my life. I had a chance to see how hard the public educators work. I had a chance to see how dedicated the families were to make things work. I also had a chance to see what the challenges were in terms of resources, but in terms of administration at the time, not always seeming to be as supportive as maybe they needed to be of the public schools and of the people in the front lines who were doing the work. After City Year, I had a chance to work with Generations Incorporated, which brought together senior citizens and youth to make a difference, to improve education, and to serve and give back to the community. I've also had a chance to organize in communities. I organized in Roxbury and Dorchester, which I know is slightly outside the district. It's still part of Boston, but what happens there also affects all neighborhoods. One of the blocks I organized actually reduced crimes by 90%. I wish I could say that was with every block I did. That was with one block, but that showed me the potential of what's possible when people work together. Those experiences highlight some of the priorities I want to make happen. First of all, in terms of public education, I want Boston to guarantee, ideally within 5 years, which I think is ambitious but doable, that all students will graduate from Boston public schools. Having been in the public schools, having had a chance to work with educators, both in the public schools as well as a lot of the educators actually are also neighborhood leaders when I was an organizer. I found that it's doable with the right funding and with the right support. What I want to do with the guarantee is force the funding to happen, force the dialogue to happen in terms of the payment in lieu of taxes on the universities, explore commuter tax, explore whatever's needed to make it happen. I want to make sure that there is. Okay, and I want to make sure structural issues. Two other things I want to prioritize. Boston Miracle 3.0. There was 2.5 year periods where no young person died violently in the city of Boston. We know what to do to make it happen. We need the commitment and the resources to invest in prevention, youth jobs, addiction treatment, everything that's needed to make that happen, and to listen to the youth, and also guaranteed pathway to home ownership. There's a lot of great home ownership programs going on. It needs to be scaled up so that it has access to everybody. And permitting and zoning needs to prioritize developments which will offer housing that people can afford, especially if there's a pathway to ownership. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? I'm going to ask a similar question we asked other candidates in District 2 relative to two issues in case of anyone who have. Number one, the housing in your district, particularly the Chinatown area, the displacement going on in that community as they're surrounded by high rises, as well as the seaport, that's the Southie issue, but also the transportation to and from now, which is Southie and the seaport, to downtown. If we could address that, how can that be done?
Absolutely. I actually lived in Chinatown. I lived in Chinatown for 10 years. I wouldn't be able to afford to buy there today. I was fortunate to buy then, and that's what's sad is I've seen both a lot of businesses and a lot of local residents get displaced because of rising rents, because of the speculation, because of people from outside the neighborhood and outside the city buying. I think two ways to address it is I know that there's some parcels that are going to be open for development very soon. I think priority needs to be given to developers who want to develop predominantly for people in the neighborhood and and make it affordable to people by the standards of the neighborhood. And developers who want to offer a path to ownership, to home ownership. I think that's part of the solution. I mean, there's no reason to. I know that the developers most of the time their variances have to be approved. I think a condition of approval is that it has to actually go to Bostonians to residents and be accessible to that. In terms of transportation, it's a state issue. We need to work closely with the state. A couple of things is if any of you have had the chance to travel to Europe and maybe parts of Asia, public transportation has to be operating much more frequently and all the time. In parts of Germany and Northern Europe, you have trains and buses coming every few minutes, sometimes every couple of minutes. I think if you have that, a lot more people would take public transportation. Roads will be clear for people who actually have to use cars, and that can be paid for because if we use the infrastructure that's used for public transportation, if we make it accessible to, I mean, not the transportation part, but the other parts. I mean, with the electric cars, we can offer charging stations since a lot of the transit is, and especially the new pollution-free transit is electricity-based, but obviously offered for a fee, so that a lot of the natural gas-based buses, I mean, if there's naturally gas-based cars, offer that again for a fee. So I mean, look at creative ways like that. A lot of the way that the routes are done would be great for like internet, Wi-Fi, and new generation services. Make it available to not just to make those spaces available for private companies to use again for a fee as well, and use that to subsidize the access of both public transportation as well as, say, internet services for the general public in Boston.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.